Hello and welcome. Man, today I was struck. I saw this tweet. I don't know how. Probably somebody replied to it, and that's how it got on my feed. But I saw this tweet, and I'm like, cable. If you read Extermination, you know why there's a new cable. See, that's new cable, old cable, new cable, old cable, back and forth. Got it? If they wanted watered down young adult cable, they should just stuck with Age of the Apocalypse Nate Gray. Well, that all got taken care of in Extermination. So I'm like down here. Oh, I bet that's why, because Rick replied to it. Anyway, um, and then I just was like, here, just read this tweet because this explains exactly what happened. But at least it was Cable that killed Cable. Oh man, I feel like I gotta like do fingers at you up here somewhere. Let's see, what do we got? There we go. But at least it was Cable that killed Cable because Cable thought Cable wasn't Cable enough after Cable literally killed. Wait, hold on, I lost track of Cables. Cable killed Cable because Cable thought Cable wasn't Cable enough after Cable. Okay, literally killed the monster from the future that haunted Cable all of Cable's life. So, 8 Cables right there just to explain why we have Kid Cable. And then I like memed or whatever, and that doesn't matter. I'm actually kind of proud of that one. I shouldn't be, but I am. And it struck me how ridiculous are comic books. Like, people make fun of action movies and stuff for being very cliche and all that. They ain't got nothing. Nothing on comic books, man. And I was just sitting here thinking, like, what other ridiculous things? Like, look at this. How many times has Jean Grey died? I have no idea. I guess I could click into this Nerdist article. Should I? Look at this. Video game forums talking about that. I don't even know, man. Well, I won't click on that because I won't give CBR the traffic, but let's see what Comic Find has to say. Here on, oh, this was 11 years ago, 4 times. She's probably died a couple more times since then. It totally loses its punch. When somebody dies repeatedly and keeps coming back, it either needs to be something like Mr. Immortal, where that is literally their superpower, you know? Or you just stop doing it because there's no emotional punch left in it. Retire the character, get a new one. Instead of reusing the same character with the same ideas over and over. I mean, I get it. Jean Grey, the Phoenix, right? It makes sense, right? Well, how many reboots has Captain Marvel had? I don't know. Oh, look here. The not so secret history of Marvel's 7 relaunches in what? In what? In 5 years. I think that's right. And when I saw this, or when I thought of this, I'm like, man, she has got like what, 9 volumes or something. Like, good luck. You buy a Captain Marvel comic, and it's not the original Captain Marvel. Good luck figuring, or even the second Captain Marvel, or the third, or the fourth. Okay, if it's Miss Marvel renamed Captain Marvel, then good luck figuring out what series it's from. There's been so many with her name on it. It's impossible to figure out. It really is. Which got me thinking, like, how many Avengers books are there? Like, we're not even, like, talking about the ridiculousness of plot here. This is just the ridiculousness of how many volumes. Because I got an Avengers book a couple months ago. I didn't quite recognize, like, the trade dress. Like, oh, man, this has got to be, like, the mid-2010s or something. And I was like, is this volume 4? Is it volume 5? Because, they like to relaunch Falling Civil War 2, the book was relaunched in 2016 as Avengers. Oh, so that's that's 3 volumes in 3 years? Am I reading that right? You can't tell this stuff apart. Comic books is totally ridiculous. No other industry would tolerate this. Okay, maybe movies would. I don't know if you've ever seen like how imported movies get named, but there are Godzilla movies that have like 4 names, and there are multiple different Godzilla movies with the same name. And I'm not just talking about ones named Godzilla, although that's an obvious example. Following the conclusion, No Surrender, the series was relaunched again as Avengers. Look at this. How can you tell these books apart? All you gotta do is you just keep iterating the number up. But number ones, you gotta have that stinking, ever-loving number 1, right? Like, that's the only way they know how to make money, is let's relaunch it with a number 1, and let's have 27 different covers. God, I hate that. You should hate that too. That's insulting to your intelligence. It really is. Okay, getting back to stupid plot lines. All right, let's go back to stupid plot lines. Anybody remember this? If you don't, you can be forgiven. The late 90s was weird, and it was a bad idea then. It's still a bad idea. They never should have done it. Somehow, Cyborg Superman and Toyman did this to Superman. I don't know how. None of this at all makes any sense. And it wasn't that cool when they did it. It was dumb. He looks cool. Superman has one look. Let's click over to that so you can see. Oh, look, there's Superman. That's all you got to do. You put that guy in a book. You have him talk about, like, the way things should be, and you have him punch a bad guy or solve a problem by thinking, and you're done. You don't have to split him into two separate people. Although apparently this was like they did this like back in 1963. That should tell you it was a bad idea. Only Grant Morrison can get away with taking an idea from the 60s and rewriting it as a modern thing. Like, he's the only guy that can do that. He did that in his Batman stuff. Speaking of Batman, ever since New 52, I have no idea what's canonical in Batman. Is his trip through, like, from Final Crisis, like when he got zapped with the Omega Sanction and went through time, like, is that still canonical? I have no idea. I have no idea what Batman even means anymore. This reboot in particular is pretty egregious for that, but every other reboot they've done has been pretty gnarly. Like, I think you can get away with, like, that one big reboot in the 80s after Infinite Crisis just to straighten up the mess because they couldn't keep it straight anymore. How could anybody else be expected to keep continuity straight? But they just kind of went whole hog into this madness, and they're just like, no, we don't care anymore. We're just going to go do whatever. And now we've got, how many reboots? Let's see. So, New 52, Rebirth, which I'm not really clear how rebooty Rebirth was, but let's just go with it was rebooty. Let's just do it. Let's go. Why not? Why not? So, let's see, Rebirth, then we're getting ready to do another one, right? 5G or whatever. So that's like 3 reboots in 9 years, so 1 reboot every 3 years. That seems like too many. Because, of course, when they do the reboot, they're going to launch out with a whole new spread of number 1s with variant covers to sell them to you. Stop buying it, people. Comic books is the most ridiculous, absolutely the most ridiculous industry that has ever existed. It makes bad decisions constantly. Just look at Marvel in the mid-90s. They bought a comic book company. Oh, hold on. Give me just a second. Let me pull that up. Marvel comic, or not comic book company. They bought a card company. Card company. I forget which one. They bought 2, actually. 2, if you can believe this. Marvel Entertainment. Here we go. Who did you guys buy? Fleer. Man, I remember Fleer cards. Fleer had some super high-end trading cards. That was their jam. So they purchased Fleer in 92. Then a couple years later, they purchased Panini Group, who... Oh, I'm sorry, not Panini Group. Skybox. Panini Group actually published Marvel books in Italy, among other things. But no, I was thinking of Skybox. Skybox published trading cards. They also bought a distribution company to distribute their own product, and guess what? They botched it. So they had a card company, then they bought another card company for literally no reason. No reason at all. No one knows why. If you got a card company, you can, you know what? Make cards. And if I remember right, man, Fleer cards were like the super premium. They were like the company, I think, that started putting like the little hollow foils and stuff on trading cards and made them super duper high end. Like, we're talking ultra primo stuff. Why they needed to buy a Skybox later? I have no idea. Why they bought a distribution company and mismanaged it all so badly that they went bankrupt? I have no idea. So the comic book industry doesn't just have a problem with its stories not making sense. It doesn't just have a problem with its actual publication stuff not making sense. The comic book industry also has the problem that literally no use of their capital has made sense. That's why they all get bought up by other companies or they go bankrupt. Here, this must be talking about the part where Marvel literally sold all their comic book stuff, movie properties, out because they needed money. They're just like, just go, we need money, which locked them into bad deals. But hey, they needed money, right? I guess. That's not a good excuse. It is brutal. Their business decisions are brutal. Everything they do is just so weird. Things are a far cry from how they were in the 80s. And I recognize, like back in the 70s, comic books had problems. I think that's when, let's see, did Marvel get sold to somebody else in the 70s and then. Oh man, I forget. See, it's too complicated. It's too far. It's too far long ago. I don't remember. But I think the '70s is also when Warner bought DC. I might be wrong on that one. I could be wrong on that one. Don't take that with anything but a giant grain of salt. Pretend this is a grain of salt that I'm holding. It's invisible. It's invisible salt, and take that with that statement. But these companies have been mismanaged. Um, and that's why they don't own themselves. That's why the original owners don't own them. That's why giant corporations who don't know what to do with them own them now. And that lack of interested ownership is why comic books get treated as like a stepping stone to a Netflix deal or to a movie deal, or I want to be a serious writer, but I can't get a publisher interested in writing this fiction novel, so I'm going to make a comic book, get it self-published, and then somebody might be interested in seeing a spin-off book from that. Like, that's how comic books get treated by too many people, and it results in things like, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to kill Jean Grey again. Hey, you know what we need to do? We need to have Cable kill Cable because Cable thought Cable wasn't Cable enough after Cable literally killed the monster from the future that had haunted Cable all of Cable's life. Done. Sorry for the clap. You all take care of yourselves. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comic books are absolutely ridiculous. This is my thesis. For good or bad, this is my thesis. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.